school is the Mechanical Academy. Farhan is also a very good student who enrolled today. First-year students on the first day will have to drop their pants so that the upper-class students will stomp on their asses. No one dares to protest this. But everything changes when Rancho appeared, a person who does not subdue. The two seniors rushed to bully him, forcing him to drop his pants as everyone else. If not, he will be tortured half to death. Rancho went to his room. It seems that he is hard to live today. The seniors threatened to pee into the door of the room if not opened. Rancho quickly grabbed an electric wire wrapped around something, inserted it into the door slot, and turned on the power. As a result, the senior pissed himself with his mouth open like a bird, lying on 2 quail eggs in fear later. Since then, no one dared to bully him. However, these are nothing. The things he did next will change India. Principal Virus of the Institute of Mechanical Engineering is an extremely strict ruler. Everything for him is the standard of textbooks. On the day of welcoming new students, he boasted that every year 400,000 examiners apply, but the school only accepts a few. I know how harsh this school is. He also showed off the pen that traveled to space. It can be written in a non-gravity environment that costs up to $3 million to research. The previous principal had transferred it to him as a souvenir. But when he was still speaking, Rancho gave a sentence that made the principal angry. If the pen cannot be used in space, why do people not use pencils? Is it saving a few millions of dollars? After listening, the proud principal's mouth was arrogant. His arrogant face left. And Rancho is a person who likes to challenge such ordinary rules. Professor asks, what is a machine? Rancho answered simply, what helps reduce labor is machines. For example, a fan, telephone, or even the locking pants. The answer was accurate but made the professor angry, because it is not from the textbooks. Particularly, Chatur read exactly the same in the book without missing a word, like a person who only knows complicated definitions. But that satisfied the teacher. Rancho refused. Why must it be defined in a long and complicated way without being as easy to understand? The result was kicked out by the teacher. So old-fashioned education is like that. Rancho was too smart, so he was often considered an idiot. But being chased, Rancho will sneak into another class to learn. Rancho is completely different from everyone. In the afternoon, students shower with lemon water, and Rancho, wherever he has water, will bathe. That day, a final year student was passionate about making drone aircraft, wanted to show it to the director during the graduation ceremony. As a result, the director berated him directly, saying that he will not graduate, but all day researching machines not in books. The director assessed that his assassination attempt was saved. The father finished listening. The student begged him to see his plane. At this time, this is something no one has ever done. The old director was afraid and refused. The student was disappointed and threw it in the trash. This scene is both sad and visible. Rancho asked 2 roommates to graduate to help him. As for myself, I can complete the drone, with everyone preparing to give that student an unexpected joy. But when he flew to the window, he committed suicide. The old father only hugged the coffin of the child, crying. Rancho came to the director to tell him. Everyone thought that the rope killed him, but I think it's due to the pressure of education industry. The teacher is like a murderer with no evidence. The result was called by the director to scold for a while. Rancho said that due to the pressure of learning, India every 90 minutes has a student trying to commit suicide. But the teacher doesn't care. For him, the new score is the only existence, whether student life is important or not. Rancho still tried to explain to the teacher. Virus angrily pulled Rancho to a classroom. This student all day explained to the professors, so it is best to stand here and teach, and I will come down to be a student for you. As a result, Rancho took out the book and wrote 2 confusing words on the table, asked people to find their meaning within 30 minutes. Crazy students referred to books. Even the principal also rolled up. But when time was over, there was still no one to find the answer. Rancho told everyone, I have just seen you get caught up in a crazy way. There is no knowledge but pressure, because these 2 words he wrote around contained the names of Farhan and his friends. Also said, I just taught what the lecture is like. The principal was angry. Rancho hurriedly fled the scene. There is no more face. Virus angrily wrote 2 letters simultaneously, sent them to Farhan and Raju's parents, asking their families not to let them play with Rancho again. As expected, Farhan's father called Rancho. He asked Rancho to stay away from his son, but Rancho completely did not bother in his heart. Rancho looked at the picture again. It turned out that Farhan liked taking photos. He entered the mechanical academy just to fulfill the father's wishes. Raju's family conditions are relatively difficult. Father is paralyzed. Mom wiped while coughing. There is also an older sister who cannot marry just because there is no money for dowry. Raju has to carry the hope of the whole family alone. In the evening, 3 people after eating a snack, stomach hungry, wandering on the street. At this moment, seeing a wedding. All 3 go in as guests. Here he saw a girl who was dumped by her boyfriend. Rancho came to advise her to break up with him soon. Taking a patriarch like him will not be happy. The result was her father, the director. The wedding party today is also his eldest daughter. The 3, clumsily seeing him, only widened their eyes. Rancho quickly took an envelope, but there is nothing inside. At this point, all the words to justify. The next day, Farhan and Raju were called to the office. Virus scolded only 2 fools. The family of Rancho is very rich. You 2 can't play with him. He forced the 2 boys to move to Rancho's room. If not, they will be expelled. But Rancho was originally a person with a trivial mind. He was a person who always wants to stand in the first place. On the exam, he will trick by throwing adult magazines into another person's room, causing other students to be distracted and study less. Rancho knows all this. To teach him a lesson, Rancho knew that Chator was from elsewhere. Not proficient in the language, so he had to ask people to speak. Farhan called to distract, and Rancho corrected his speech. Because Rancho knew that Chator would only live in a rigid way. On the teacher's day, Chator represented the students and spoke. The speech praised the principal to help students. But the world has replaced the word help with other words, making the audience laugh. The more they laughed, the more excited Chator became. He praised the principal as the best student at all times. Deserved to be awarded the world prize. Actually, the speech could not be weaker. The leadership lost all face. As for students, one day to laugh. The principal rushed to strangle. Chator hated to confront Rancho. He was extremely angry with Rancho. He said, "See you in 10 years. Who of the 2 of us will be richer?" His eyes showed a big heart. He also took a bottle to engrave every September 5. "See you 10 years later." Actually, with the evil play to correct this speech, the angry person also includes the daughter of the director. She blamed the cheating, made her father so angry that it could not be swallowed. Rancho also refused that. Because the director is not opening a school, he's opening a factory, fostering nerds like canned food. For example, the other boyfriend. He loved her only because she is the daughter of the director. He will consider the material. To prove to the other, Rancho removed the watch he just gave to the other. After that, he told him that it was lost. As expected, he only cares about the clock. He also scolded, "Why you are so stupid." Pia felt very lost. She finally realized his true face, immediately brought the clock to him and then broke up with the bastard. At this moment, Rancho received a phone call. Raju's father's illness worsened. He hurriedly asked for medicine. He quickly came to Raju's house. Knowing that the ambulance would take half an hour to come, Rancho did not wait, put him straight in the hospital emergency room. The result was immediate. Luckily, without waiting for an ambulance. If not, they would have lost their lives. Raju shed tears to thank Rancho. "Thank you for ignoring the rule to wait for an ambulance." He said sorry and thanked him. Pia also started to be sympathetic to this guy, a humorous and rule-breaking person. They came home. Pia looked everywhere to see Rancho. She saw Rancho on every TV channel. In the moment, she loved Mr. Mystery goodbye. The next morning, when they woke up late, it was over the exam time. Although all 3 ran out quickly, but it was still 30 minutes late. The exam time quickly ended. As a result, the teacher refused to take the test. Of 3 people, Rancho asked, "Do you know who we are?" The teacher did not know. So Rancho mixed all the tests and ran away. As a result, the test of 3 people has been mixed and successfully submitted. But the achievement cannot be poor. Location of the worst score. Very natural for Farhan and Raju. The 2 of them looked on the list without Rancho. Initially, it was very sad because Rancho was expelled. But after knowing the top position is the name of Rancho, really nothing more miserable than this. My friend expelled. I was sad. But it is even more sad the person who feels the most annoyed. The principal, when arranging the scene, is also in order. Whoever has high points is top priority. Whoever is low then sits behind. The principal was betting that Farhan and Raju, the next day, if these 2 boys find a job in the interview, he would shave his head. Then humiliate them in front of all students because the score is too low. Farhan and Raju felt offended. They looked for Rancho to drink strong wine. Farhan wants to become a photographer. but he never dared to pursue his passion. Rancho challenged him to apply for photography. At this time, Farhan refused. "Don't you like that, but don't dare to confess? If you dare to confess, then the two of them will abandon mechanics to pursue passion." Because of the challenge of his two friends, Rancho decided to confess. So the three young men were drunk. They sneaked into Pia's gate. Rancho very quickly sneaked into Pia's room through the window. Ready and drunk in the body, Rancho let out the confession.
Filled with sweet honey. But Rancho could not expect that the girl holding hands is the sister of Pia. Pia, lying beside, excitedly woke up. She waited for the heart to confess for 4 years now. When the three were happy, Farhan and Raju at the bottom ran straight into the electricity bridge. Virus was awakened. The three of them fled. The last moment he accidentally saw Raju's face. The three guys just like that went to school. Then they hid into a classroom. They slept until the next morning. At this time, Virus entered the classroom. He led Raju, who had not awakened, to his own room. Virus let Raju choose to denounce Rancho or be expelled. Of course, being expelled from school, his father would commit suicide immediately. His whole family could not live. One side is family, one side is friends who cannot betray. Raju chose to jump from the floor. But fortunately, the wire supported him a bit. He broke 16 ribs and 1 leg. Raju underwent a life-and-death surgery, all thanks to the pressure of the principal. But now he lost consciousness. For 3 months, they did everything to help him recover. Rancho did not come to encourage any day. Raju finally regained consciousness. He completely let go of his fear in his heart. He confidently sat in a wheelchair to get a job interview. Finally, with sincerity and honesty about what he learned, thanks to that, completely convinced the company's leadership, with a higher salary than imagination. And Farhan also received a new letter from Brazil. Farhan took all courage when he told his father, determined to become a photographer. His father at first shouted, but by earnestness he knelt down to his father. Through deep words from the heart, finally the father wholeheartedly supported, agreed to buy a camera for his son. The two friends of Rancho succeeded. They thanked Rancho in accordance with the customs of first-year students. Rancho could not hold back his happy tears. Virus lost, so he was shaved. He held hatred in his heart. "I will come out for the upcoming graduation exam on my own. Let the two Raju and Farhan unable to graduate." The institute knew the story, so they wanted to stop him. They stole the keys to the container room to take the exam to Rancho, for Raju to be able to graduate conveniently. Rancho and Farhan are not dangerous. They went to the school to steal the exam in the night. They brought the exam to give to Raju. But Raju was very upright and threw it on the floor. He did not want to cheat. But at this moment, Virus led the police to catch them, taking the reason for cheating exams for them. When they got home, he said, it was his brother who committed suicide because of the exam pressure, not an accident as they thought. He also gave him a suicide letter because his father had forced him to study too much. At this time, it rained heavily in traffic. Farhan's older sister suddenly gave birth. Virus's car was broken. The three young men who were going back to their hometown met them in the middle of the road. They immediately brought his sister to the school and called Farhan on video. They mixed through calls to guide. The situation of her sister is too weak now. Unfortunately, the school lost power. But Rancho worked hard. He also managed to get the vacuum cleaner. Through a few simple connections, fixed the vacuum cleaner into a baby suction device. He mixed the light switch. Rancho uses a vacuum cleaner to suck. Plus the weak instructions of the sister, in the end, the baby was delivered successfully. What a very wonderful moment. Everyone could not hold back tears. Virus finally changed. When Rancho wanted to leave, Virus called him back. His tears fell. My 60-year prohibition was broken by you. Finally, Virus gave to Rancho the sucking tree that the person who saw it had previously transferred. Time moved to graduation day. When everyone is very happy, Rancho suddenly got in the car, silently leaving. That was the last time they saw him. Time passing is very fast. 10 years after the day the group met again according to betting. Chator was a rich man with a 60 billion mansion, but absolutely did not see Rancho. Chator was asked by a professor for Rancho's address, so all three rushed to find Rancho. It turned out that that day was his father's death anniversary. All three people thrilled to call Rancho. But why now turn into another person?
The graduation photo now turned into him. The three of them could not help but be amazed. What happened in the end? Chatur said a very famous professor gave him the address there. Just by this professor signing the contract, he will be rich. And Farhan looks like Rancho. To know the truth, they can only ask him. The three of them immediately came to him. They found the family employee and threatened him with a gun without saying a word. The two asked each other and hugged him, threatening to throw him off the bridge if he didn't tell the truth. The scared family finally had to tell the truth. It turned out that Rancho was just a family employee. But because he was eager to study, the owner helped him. The owner also allowed Rancho to go to school instead, to learn the chance to study instead and bring it back. After graduation, who will go? The employee was learned, and the family was well off. So the three people started to go to Rancho. The family also gave them an address. All three call Pia to find Rancho. But family members said that Pia was preparing to get married. So the two of them immediately drove back. Just arrived at the wedding before happening. Farhan runs into the bride's room when she is doing makeup, prevent her from not marrying that guy. This side ran into the groom's room, used the table to rub all the candies on his wedding dress, to extend the time he had to buy a new shirt. And Raju pretended to be the groom out with the bride. Immediately after that, Farhan, driving a car, was available outside the gate. Pulling the bride, they ran a circuit to the car. Such direction implemented classic Bollywood screens. But they still do not know whether he is married or not. Finally, 4 people came to the town where he was living, a remote but very strange town. All children in the town can invent machines themselves. At this time, Chatur wanted to go to the toilet. The result was that he was shocked by children on the wall. The 3 people saw these familiar events. Then surely Rancho is here. A young man led them to his lab, the place where he reads all the books of Farhan, read Raju's blog every day, and kept all the memories of the past here. Pia drove to see the spares. She was playing on the beach with the children, thinking we'll come to kiss. Who doubted was a painful silver ear. They were both angry and happy to hug each other. The 2 close friends now also came. Take turns hugging Rancho. I miss you so much. Why are you leaving us so long? Moments later, Chatur also approached. Speak out the words 10 years ago to see who was more successful. Confidently showing off, now he is rich. Also is about to be signed with Professor Wang Du. After signing, he will be wealthy hundreds of times. He requested the time to sign the acceptance. Rancho took out the pen of the principal to sign a name. Chatur arrogantly robbed the pen away. At this time, he told the friends, I am Professor Wang Du. Chatur's face fell now. The new uncle pulled out his phone to call him. Chatur realized that he with Professor Wang Du. The stupid face is like a soaked rag. Self-continuous pants honored the uncle won. In the end, Rancho had done it. Learning is not because of qualifications, but learning for knowledge. Pursuing excellence and success will come to you. This is the end of the movie. If you like it, leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss my new videos. Thanks for watching and see you again in the next videos.